She had started and she was in the office of the CEO, working directly for Larry. She said to me, well, we're going to be in the office of the CEO. I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to be in the office of the CEO. So you know what I'm saying? So at a very young age, similar to what you said, I was in the office of the CEO. So I was in the office working for Safra and Larry. That experience was invaluable. When I was picked as one of Fortune magazine's 50 most powerful Black executives in corporate America, Larry brought me one of his jackets and said, uh, "You're a long way from Chicago." Now he grew up in Chicago. He grew up in Illinois, so
Larry Ellison, brought you
yeah.
that?
So he brings me this this jacket from America's Cup. I still have it in my closet right now. I still have it. He brings me this jacket, tells me how proud he tells me how proud he is of me. When I said to myself at the time, Judy Sim was the for all intents and purposes she was the CMO. Judy and I were a similar age. I knew that I couldn't stay at Oracle because she was the person. We were the same age. She was going to be it. I knew that I had to navigate away. And when I told Larry Safra and Chuck Phillips that I had gotten recruited by GE, they had a party for me. Larry came, Safra came, and Chuck Phillips came and said, "We are proud of you." And how I managed that was I knew they would be proud of me if I went to a company that they thought was better than Oracle.
Message.
They looked at it as me elevating myself. And that I'll never forget too. So I had things like that, that is some of the lows that I explained earlier. I've had things that were highs, and then I just tried to leverage those highs and try to build on whatever they gave me. But I knew that every single person, I can tell you, whether it's Jeremy Burton, whether it's Sohaib Abbasi, whether it's Mark Benioff, Salesforce, right?
Talking
I
to heavy hitters.
when Mark was building, there was we used to meet twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, for what we called the PDMC, the Product Development Management Committee. Mark Baranche was in there. No, sorry, Mark Benioff was in there. I was there. Mark Baranche is the CEO of OpenText. I was there. So that you can't, that's invaluable experience. There's no amount of money, nothing that anyone, no one can ever take that away from me. Jeremy Burton was the president at Dell. Like all of the people that I was surrounded by, who, by the way, were all white men who were very supportive of me, and they all turned, and so that's why I said it's not a it's sometimes people try to make it a black and white thing. It's about who are you going to get to be on your team that believes in you and that can help you get to where you want to be. And
Message.
I tell you that that to me was where I got my formative years of the thing that I knew would catapult me to whatever success I was going to have. And I'm telling you, if you work for those guys and you can survive it, you can work anywhere.
For context, Larry Ellison, the world's richest man as of he was about 2 weeks ago, is giving an
Correct.
interview saying that he loves her work. This is who she's working on. Mark Benovoff, the CEO of Salesforce, one of the biggest companies in the world that she's around. Like that had to be intimidating and so crazy at the same time. Also like benefiting, and then also like you're
It,
watching how they move. You're taking a little bit. You make your own calls.
but it's so funny because every one, we were all younger, right? So we're all, everybody was young, and you're just kind of doing it, you're just doing the thing, and that's what I love about technology. That's what I loved about Silicon Valley. That's what I love, because I felt like it was, if you were smart and did the work, you were going to be rewarded. And I know that's not true in all places, but that's how I felt growing up in technology. I don't think that I would have gotten this same trajectory if I had been in maybe some other industry. I really just don't.
I'm in
Right,
awe.
right place at the right time. But you know, I think what helped you feel comfortable also is the fact that like you said, you had that solid upbringing, right? You had your father telling you that you could do a thing. You had that support system that you built your foundation on, right?
Correct.
And you went in there, and again, you just did what you did naturally, and you let your talent shine.
Up,
And
chest
and,
out.
and I, yeah, and I commend them for that. And like, ladies and gentlemen, by no shape, form, or fashion do we advocate that there are no people on the other side of the aisle that would help us. That's not what we talk about on this show. What we talk about is if a person has a specific experience, acknowledging the experience for what it is and not making
Talk
excuses for
about
it.
it. Talk
we,
about
we
it.
want to learn about it. We want to get the education out so that we can just ensure that if it was a negative experience, that hopefully it doesn't happen again, or it doesn't happen as frequent. But if it was a positive experience, as Jacqueline just said, she was given the opportunity by a lot of these men, that we understand that as well. So just in case that you're in those room or you're around these people, then you can say, well, I know that Jacqueline had a good experience and I might know another person. So like she said, then it would fair to say that if I'm around these people, that I would have a great experience as well too. And the thing about that is you have to go in when you're in those situations and you're not the smartest person in the room. You put your head down and you shut up. You shut up and you learn. That's the key to that. You go in and you just, like a sponge, you just absorb. And because without you asking for it, technically they are mentoring you.
Right.
That's what they are. They're mentoring you, right? They are preparing you for what they believe is what's next in your future without saying directly, hey, Jacqueline, we're going to mentor you. Pay attention, right? They're going to say, we want to see if she realizes where she is and what the opportunity could be, and if she capitalizes on that. So kudos to you for capitalizing on it. Yeah, I'll give you a clap for that. You know what I'm saying? That's
I mean,
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing.
but to your point, like,
Yeah.
I've had some lemons too, right? I've had some people who weren't that what I just described.
Right, right.
I haven't named their names because I'm not gonna lift anybody up who wasn't helpful. Um but I only say that because I do think it's important to acknowledge those people who were helpful and who I think were supportive. But trust me, I had some lemons. I have some scars from some of the folks who really were not so nice.
I could dig it.